Nevada is often thought of as no more than a dry, dusty desert with Vegas, poor man's Vegas, rocks, dirt. At least that's what I thought before I moved here. But Nevada, as it turns out, is so much more than that. It's got the most beautiful lake in the world.
Levitating.
More mountain ranges than any other state in the continental US.
We climbed all the way up there today.
More hot springs than any other state, and some of the best stargazing on Earth. If you're looking for uncrowded adventures in unspoiled landscapes, Nevada truly has it for you.
I just love stuff like this.
This itinerary begins in Las Vegas because it's the epicenter of Nevada. As much as I love the glitz and the glamour of the Strip, and if you've never been, you should definitely go and enjoy some of the shows, look at some of the beautiful casinos, because honestly, they put on such a show just with their decorations. They have amazing food, and a lot of them have awesome shows and nightclubs. But for me, I feel like there's so much outside of it to see and experience. First, head west down the 15 freeway to the 7 Magic Mountains. Initially meant to be a temporary art exhibit, it's so popular that it's been made permanent.
Not gonna lie, I got my Instagram photo too.
Open 24/7 and free to visit, it's a truly unique sight to see in the desert. Las Vegas is also a great jumping off point for helicoptering over the landscape and seeing the Grand Canyon without having to drive all the way. It's expensive, I'll be honest, but it saves hours and hours in the car. Plus, the overhead view of the desert and eventually the canyon is so stunning, and really the only way you can see it from this overhead vantage point. I recommend taking the flight with the sunset and champagne sundowner. Next, of course, you've got to see the famous Valley of Fire. This is one of Nevada's most popular state parks, and for good reason. It's got incredible stargazing, beautiful rock formations, and it's fiery red. Just be careful in the summer because it can get crazy hot. And everyone seems to think the Hoover Dam is so cool and worth seeing, and I guess if that's your thing, go for it, but I have to say it's not that cool, and there's way better ways to spend your time in Nevada. One of those is by picking Lake Mead instead for boating, hanging by the water, or even diving. From the Vegas area, pop north to see some of the best of the Wild West. The famous Rhyolite ghost town is on your way, which has sadly been fenced off for the most part since we can't have nice things, but it's still an interesting peek into Nevada's history as a mining state, and the fact that Nevada has more ghost towns than live ones.
If you want solitude, Nevada is basically it.
It can also be great for stargazing and is the gateway to Death Valley in nearby California. There's also some free-range art on your way that I honestly found more interesting than Rhyolite itself.
What the hell do we have here?
You'll see ghosts sitting down for their last supper, riding a bike, and a Lego-looking statue of Venus, and a rock labyrinth. On your way north, don't miss the International Car Forest of the Last Church and the weird art that is Goldfield, Nevada. Once Nevada's most populous town during the gold rush, it's now a small town of just a few hundred people and is really cool, free, open-air car forest of a bunch of vehicles nose down in the sand.
It's so cool to see it with the snow.
We actually stayed the night in an old converted inn in Goldfield, and it was a pretty cool experience.
Hello?
Next is Tonopah, another mining town that is full of history and especially quirkiness.
This whole town is weird, man.
Tonopah has the Clown Motel, which though I didn't stay there, I did pop in, and true to their name, they have a lot of clowns.
Even more clowns than I imagined or expected or could have hoped for.
And nearby there is an old cemetery which has burials from the early 1900s.
I've never really toured a cemetery before, so this is very interesting.
Instead, we stayed in the most haunted room in the most haunted hotel allegedly in the world.
We did book the room that tends to be the most haunted, that has the most happenings.
What I love about the hotel is that it is stuck in time very much on purpose as an homage to its early opening in the 1900s during the mining boom when people were visiting Tonopah in much higher numbers, including the famous cowboy Wyatt Earp. From there at Fallon, take a right and travel east down the loneliest road in America. It was so named by a Life magazine writer in the 80s who didn't realize that there actually is quite a lot to see off of this road. As is the case with Nevada, like many people do, the writer underestimated what you could find down random dirt roads. For being such a lonely road, I've actually traveled it 5 times myself, stopping in Middlegate Station, which used to be part of the Pony Express and is now home to a huge burger if you fancy it.
What?
It's kind of got a weird vibe, I'll be honest with you. Onwards, you'll pass through a few truly tiny towns that I have actually gotten stuck in before due to snow.
We're now in Eureka, Nevada. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Before reaching the town of Ely, which is another place that I've just kind of gotten stuck at before. And to me, it's mostly a place to gamble before you get to Utah. But the whole reason for driving this road is to see the beauty at the end. Nevada's only national park, Great Basin.
There's not a whole lot of trails in this park, but I think what they do have is going to be pretty impressive.
It's also one of the least visited national parks in the national park system, probably because it's in the middle of nowhere. But that doesn't mean it's not worth visiting. You can take a hike to see Nevada's only glacier, see the beautiful lakes, and my personal favorite, visit the bristlecone pine forest.
Look at this tree.
The bristlecone pine tree is the oldest living organism on Earth. We're talking older than the pyramids, at thousands of years living in this harsh environment.
I don't know how many places in the world they grow, but this is really Great Basin's claim to fame. extreme, and I'm really, honestly, super impressed.
I personally hiked around and stayed until after dark to see the stars. If you're looking for a challenge, you can also climb Nevada's second tallest peak, Wheeler Peak.
We climbed all the way up there today.
It's honestly kind of a doozy because Great Basin is already at such a high altitude, and it's a short but steep hike with some rock scrambling at the top, but this view is worth it. Next, make it up north to the Ruby Mountains. This natural area is absolutely stunning and has lots of hiking to enjoy. I honestly never knew before seeing all of these places that Nevada had so many lakes, pine trees, water, and green places. As you make your way back west, you'll see Reno, which is actually the biggest little city in the world and worth checking out. There's a lot of Burning Man art in our downtown, all kinds of things going on like festivals, and of course it's the major jumping off point for both Lake Tahoe and the Black Rock Desert of Burning Man fame.
That is nice.
I might be partial, but the Nevada side of Lake Tahoe to me is the most beautiful. You'll know it because it will be part of the lake on the eastern shore that has the casinos and the cheaper gas. Lake Tahoe is a gorgeous Caribbean blue that over the years has gotten insanely popular. I share this asking you to please love and care for her and pack out all the trash that you bring in and always be aware of bears. That said, this is some of the best hiking and beach going along this side of the lake. Finally, moving up north, having gone to 10 Burning Mans, it wasn't until I moved to Nevada that I actually thought of Black Rock Desert as somewhere to explore outside of the festival. This is why it's called the Black Rock Desert. I think this is obsidian, this is volcanic landscape, I've been told, and all of this used to be under a big lake back in the day. But it's actually an incredibly lush green wonderland that has some of the best stargazing on Earth. For most of this adventure, you're definitely going to want a high clearance four-wheel drive vehicle, and you might want a satellite phone as well because there is no signal out there. What there is a wealth of hot springs out in this desert, and although the local code is kind of that you never name the spring, you can find them on Google Maps. Finally, the cherry on top of the Black Rock Desert is really Massacre Rim, one of only 17 dark sky sanctuaries in the world, and it's the largest one at that. It's so quiet and peaceful, and I haven't been somewhere this quiet in a very long time. The nearest town is quite a while away, and there's only about a few dozen inhabitants locally. You won't find much out there but sagebrush and some cows, with nothing to obstruct the sky. Depending on the time of year that you visit, you may see some beautiful wildflowers as well. This is going to require driving for quite some time down dirt and gravel roads, so take your time and enjoy the ride. This part is a little... That goes for your whole Nevada adventure. There's so much more than meets the eye in this state, and even more than this video has time to cover. But with some adventurousness and the right vehicle, you can really have quite the incredible adventure in Nevada. And best of all, much of it doesn't have to be shared with that many people.